My name is Terry Voss, and I'm with Vermeer Corporation. I work in community relations and outreach for the organization, and I live right here in Pella, Iowa.
I'm Sherry Down, and I have the privilege of serving as the Director of Community-Based Learning at Central College. My job is to foster partnerships that extend learning to new settings for academic service learning and other civic engagement activities. And we nominated Vermeer for the Civic Minded Employer Award from Iowa Campus Compact. We appreciate that the Compact recognizes the importance of celebrating commitment to community. And the Civic Minded Employer just seems a natural fit for Vermeer because of many reasons.
Central College has been such a wonderful partner for Vermeer because we both understand the importance of young people who need to learn what's happening right here in their community, and they can do that both through their educational experiences, but also through their experiences with a company like Vermeer. So we do everything that we can to connect to organizations, often educational institutions like Central College and local grade schools and high schools before they would even get to that higher education institution, so that they truly understand what is available in their community, but then also how volunteerism and community really builds local industry like Vermeer.
When state leaders and economic development specialists first began talking about the shortage of employees in STEM fields, I learned that Vermeer was already addressing that in a variety of different ways. And one example is that they launched an organization called Peers that places STEM professionals in K-12 schools for the purpose of exciting kids about STEM careers. And we collaborated several times on events where faculty at Central prepared interactive exercises that illustrated STEM concepts. And Vermeer was always the cornerstone of that work, along with some other partners in Central Iowa. And that's really, I think, how I became acquainted with that very strong commitment to not only all the communities where Vermeer has a presence, but right here in Pella.
And I remember early on, we would often go to Central for these STEM festivals. They would provide the venue and the incentive and the motivation to come and be a part of these conversations with young people. And at first you didn't know what that would bring about, but once you were there, and we were there as a company, and you saw these people come in the door, and they were just inspired by the different activities that we could share with them, and they started thinking about what happens next after my educational experience. They started connecting the dots between the activity that I'm doing at this event could lead me to a career that could lead me to this community for long-term living and thriving. So we were so appreciative from the very beginning, in the way that Central helped us get engaged with those young people, and it's only grown from there.
My favorite memory from one of those STEM events is that the thing had wound up and the families were leaving, and the big Andriga boardroom, our conference or banquet room, was emptying out, and I heard some activity in another room. And I peeked in there, and it was a group of middle school students and a group of Central College physics students, and they were working on something fun, and we could barely drag them away. And I reflected on the joy it brings me to see how young people were getting excited about science, technology, engineering, and math.
Exactly, and that was one of the launch points then for Vermeer to get involved in other programs like the Peers program that you mentioned. And so there are a lot of different engineers from our organization and then some other area organizations that will go to the classroom and visit with young people to learn more about science, technology, engineering, and math. And they really do hands-on activities that connect to local business, and the kids get they just get very excited about having a visitor to the classroom, especially when it's with someone with a local business that really cares about them and wants to connect with them in a professional way.
Another fun partnership was when some college students, as a service learning project, researched the notion of a natural playscape. And I didn't know that that means a fun play area where the elements are all from the natural environment. And so this environmental science students of Dr. Anya Butt researched and designed a natural playscape for our community partner, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Red Rock Lake Association. And, they had the thing ready to roll, but it wasn't built yet. And that's where Vermeer came in.
And that was a wonderful opportunity because it happened to be our 65th anniversary as an organization at the time. And so we heard about this project. We were reaching out, trying to find where could we fit in. And when the Natural Playscape project came up, it was perfect because they needed a little bit of landscaping and tree clearing and so forth to make space for this wonderful natural playscape. And so Vermeer was the perfect fit. So we had a day where a whole group of Vermeer team members went out there and worked so hard. They were mulching, they were building rocks and stumps for people for kids to jump from one to the next, and little natural teepees and garden areas. Musical instruments, yeah. And it was fun to see the adults having just such a good time building it. And so that was really the launch of that. And then for our 70th anniversary, which we just celebrated last year, we brought everybody back again to see where it stood at that time. We had the opportunity to remulch, build it back up again, and it's obviously had a lot of visitors in that amount of time because it was well used, well worn, and we just were able to re-inspire it and get it looking good again as a company.
This just occurred to me that one of the sort of subsequent benefits of that was that there's a natural amphitheater. And we were able to collaborate with several peers, partners, to provide STEM education for K-12 teachers. And they came out and received from the state, the Department of Ed, some STEM education materials that they could then go back and use with their students, and in fact, bring the students back to the natural playscape for activities.
And that really reminds me of our teacher intern program, which we've talked a lot about with Central as well, because we bring several teachers to Vermeer on an annual basis every summer. And our goal is to really help them understand what we do within the manufacturing arena so that they can take that experience in science, technology, engineering, and math and bring it back to their classroom. We try and provide them with, again, hands-on activities so students can experience that back in the classrooms based on what the teachers have learned here at Vermeer. So just another thing that has developed from some of those partnerships and relationships early on.
One of the things that really strikes me about the excellence of Vermeer's approach to this work is that the company understands the importance of infrastructure. So for the Peers organization, that is really a nonprofit entity, of course, because it's about STEM education, it is built into someone's job description here, Dustin, to help facilitate that group. And the fact that Terry's position exists to help connect Vermeer with the community tells me they understand things don't just happen without some personnel infrastructure. Terry was one of the first folks I thought of. I'm currently serving as a commissioner for Volunteer Iowa. And every 3 years, that organization drafts a state service plan. And we have listening sessions all over the state of Iowa to gather information from communities about what their volunteer needs are. And so we wanted to bring together stakeholders in this part of the state who really cared about the common good, cared about connecting Iowans with their communities. And Terry was an integral part of that. She came to the session. We gathered that information. It has been passed along, and there's now a draft form of that plan. It will be implemented soon. And that's in part thanks to Terry and Vermeer's influence.
Thank you. And we've been thrilled to be a part of Volunteer Iowa and the Iowa Mentoring Partnership. So we like to participate in some of the record keeping that those organizations do. We typically participate in the April and May volunteer competition, if you will, although, we're doing it whether it's a competition or not, because Vermeer offers 8 hours of volunteer time off every year, and we're thrilled to be able to get our team members out into the community by doing those things. And last year, during that time period that Volunteer Iowa does that recording process with businesses and local organizations. We logged 1,700 hours of volunteer service within the community, and we just love to be able to see those numbers, but then celebrate our team members for the fact that they're going out there and getting involved for the greater good.
That's the Give Back Iowa Challenge, and all employers are in the state, small, medium, or large, are invited to participate. Vermeer's kind of set the bar for us here in Pella about empowering their employees. The college also has paid time off for volunteering, and it's something that Volunteer Iowa created with that purpose, so that everyone thought about the investments in the community that they could make. Speaking of the ways you have been celebrated, or you celebrate among your team members for their contributions, I'm remembering the Character Counts Award that you received a few years ago.
That was another honor, and we so much appreciated that. Vermeer is very involved with different civic organizations, Character Counts being one of them. And you're right, Sherry, we did get recognized for participation with that group and the ways it was impacting initially, I think, maybe some of the athletic realms within the organization, but then that really grew into leadership and impacting students across the organization and community.
Well, and Vermeer was really one of the partners who established a Character Counts chapter here. Really what Character Counts does is foster those values that build character. So I have so appreciated your work in that arena.
Well, thank you, Sherry. And, I think just learning how much education impacts people from an early age all the way into the career arena is something that we really value. And so other things that we get involved with is to have reading events, for example, and mentoring events where we bring our Vermeer team members together with area students to read to them or to teach them about manufacturing. We also have a Vermeer Women in Manufacturing group that really serves as mentors to local students, and we love bringing young people into spaces like this to show them the history of Vermeer, but also our community. And we feel that makes a connection between young people and local industry so that they want to stay in Iowa and hopefully even want to stay right here in our community and build our workforce. So we try and make those connections on a very regular basis when they're very young, through reading events and through every step of the way, through things like our manufacturing day, where we bring at least 700 students to Vermeer to show them what we are and what we're about, and then through the classroom visits, through peers that we mentioned earlier, all the way up through college, where in recent years we've been able to work with Central College and build out an engineering program that now Central College students can enjoy. And that's so important to us too, because if they're learning and being educated about engineering right here in our community, there's again a better chance that they'll be a part of our area workforce.
That engineering program is something I'm especially proud of because it brings together the best of both arts and sciences. And the holders of those degrees have their strong engineering background, but they've also had a liberal arts education at Central, which is a wonderful dynamite combination. I hear employers mention the importance of preparing students not only for STEM careers, but for citizenship. Mm-hmm. It seems like all of these things that we've done, I'm reminded from this conversation of some of the things that we've worked together on, and we really appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that Campus Compact really empowers colleges through many, many different ways, harnessing the expertise of community, harnessing national service programs in a way that helps us both contribute to the common good. The Compact understands the importance of holistic partnerships within the community, really to bring about the public purpose of higher ed.
And it's also really about sustainability. We know as an organization that we need to work with the community and that we need to partner with the local educational institutions because it builds our workforce, but it also creates a sustainable community where people want to live and grow.
I think Vermeer epitomizes that term that's used in education a lot called anchor institution. And we consider the college an anchor institution too, in that both of us are here to stay. And both of us care not only about our specific missions, but really about the communities here and beyond in which our students, our employees will live and work and thrive.
And if we can continue to do that, we'll be a great place to work, a great place to be educated, and a great place to live.